Okay, so let's see what's going on in Toronto this week. Yesterday we looked at the exhibitions at the AGO, Art Gallery of Ontario. So let's get out of Vancouver and see what are going on in Toronto. So I have been at AGO before this expansion, before this remarkable expansion of this glass-windowed corridor here. And after I returned, after a few years, it was done. And then I went back again 2 years ago with my colleagues to this remarkable gallery. And there was an interactive exhibition of cows. The Henry Moore Gallery, British artist Henry Moore Gallery. Okay, so yesterday I guess we already checked out all these online information of the existing current exhibitions of AGO. Paul McCartney photographs, the rare photographs by Paul McCartney in the 60s. David Blackwood lithograph etching. And then we talked about Yayoi Kusama's Infinity Rooms. This one, I don't think I've been in this room yet. I don't think this room was at the Seattle Art Museum when I visited. So any other exhibitions that worth checking out or worth let's look at their collections. A lot of the museums these days are completely digitizing or have completely digitized their entire collection and put all the information online. The same for the UBC Museum of Anthropology. So when you visit their galleries, their exhibitions, there are computers on site that you can just touch the screen and navigate through their entire collection. I believe the Museum of Anthropology also has the entire collection online, not sure. And of course, the Louvre Museum in Paris have the entire collection available online. The Getty Center also. Getty Center has a online portal to all the public domain artworks available on their website that you can use in any way you want. So let's see AGO's collection. AGO's collection features more than 120,000 works, ranging from cutting-edge contemporary art such as Yayoi Kusama's Infinity Mirror Room, Let's Survive Forever. Also, this particular room is now in their permanent collection. So you can, theoretically, you can go there anytime and be in that room. To European masterpieces such as Peter Paul Rubens's Massacre of the Innocents. Our works by established and emerging Indigenous Canadian artisans shines against our vast collection by the Group of Seven. Our photography collection tracks the impact of the medium with the deep holdings of works by artists such as Gary Winogrand and Diane Arbus. And our focused collections in Gothic boxwood miniature and Western and Central Africa round out our multifaceted collective. Okay, let's check out the Gothic boxwood miniatures. Contemporary prints and drawings, an extensive collection. Okay, Gothic boxwood miniatures. Rosary pendant, youth, age, and death. 1540 ivory. Youth and death. Youth, age, and death. Only one image. It gives you the location, the object number, everything, dimensions of this object. Return to the collection. So I guess not the entire collection is online yet. Here, the Boxwood project. Boxwood. Explore stunning Gothic boxwood miniature carvings that have captured the imagination of their owners and viewers from almost 500 years. The resource presents every known example of these carvings, documented with stunning new photography that allows you to zoom in and see wonderful details. Alongside new research uncovering how these marbles were made, explore and compare images of the carvings and come back to the site often to see what new research is being discovered. Let's find out the dimensions. The signs of small wonders. The signs of small wonders. Scientific and art historical research undertaken by the AGO with colleagues at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam provides a new perspective on these works of art and their makers. So there's X-ray image. Prayer bead, AGO. Metal pins appear as straight and bent lines in the X radiograph, exposing the location of the 5 pins. What's those dimensions? Scientific. Few things small enough to fit in the palm of the hand can inspire wonder about the limitless potential of human creativity. Gothic boxwood miniatures carved in the early 1500s do just that, prompting us to wonder how a person could have possibly made them by hand over 500 years ago. We have answered that question using cutting-edge scientific imaging technology, and the 2016-17 exhibition Small Wonders, Gothic Boxwood Miniatures, allows you to discover the secrets of these tiny sculptures in person. Dimensions. Prayer bead separated into all of its parts using micro CT scanning and advanced 3D analysis software. I see. The curator says, sometimes I spend time in the galleries undercover, pretending to be a visitor so that I can see what interests them most. There are things I assume that the AGO's guests come to see: Picasso, Rubens, Van Gogh, Rembrandt, Monet, and often I'm right. But I had no idea what a hit Gothic boxwood miniature were. No one walks by the case that holds these objects without stopping to take a look. After a few moments, almost every person asks the same question: How were these made? Remarkably, this question often sparks a conversation between strangers. As a curator, I want to be able to answer the questions posed by the AGO audience, but in this case, I couldn't. The technique used to make these works of art was just too complex and hidden for me to explain it without more information myself. To learn more, I turned to Lisa Ellis, our conservator of sculpture and decorative arts. Okay, let's see what the conservator said. When Sasha came to me, I thought this is going to be an easy question to answer. I was wrong. To answer the question, I embarked with Sasha on what ended up being a 5-year journey into the worlds of physics, archaeology, 3D imaging software, and gaming computers. Simple radiography let me down. We needed a more sophisticated method to understand how these things were made. So reverse engineer. I turned to micro CT scanning to create virtual 3D models of these works of art inside out. Create virtual 3D models. Using the 3D models, I was able to take apart each object virtually so that I could see how its pieces fit together and therefore how it was made. Astonishing secrets were revealed, including in one case a hidden portrait of a king and a queen that no one had seen for over 500 years. Unlocking the mystery. Together, we learned that it takes a strong team of experts from different disciplines and institutions to delve deep into any single body of work. We have learned that sometimes the most obvious solution is the most effective. For example, standardized photography provided an incredible amount of new information about the works of art. We also learned that these works of art are universally captivating, regardless of people's background. The fact that they were made by hand 500 years ago is inspiring, and it makes us wonder about our own capabilities as creative humans. Detailed miniature altarpiece, a triptych, micro CT scanning, advanced 3D analysis software. Now that we know how the Gothic boxwood miniatures were made, we have even more questions about the people who made them. What motivated the artists to go to this extreme? Will we ever know who they are? Were their original owners aware of the incredible skill that the creation of these works are demanded? We continue to be impressed by them and know that our audiences will be too. There was a time when we worried about unlocking the secrets of these objects would have made them less magical, but if anything, it makes them even more wonderful today. Well, this article doesn't really say much about or reveal any of the secrets. It's just very technological about the process of analyzing. The collection. Okay, let's see the collection. Dimensions, finally. Okay. 7.5 centimeters. 7.5 centimeters by 8 centimeters by 1.3 centimeters. It's larger than I imagined. I thought they were like in a nutshell or something. M life. Okay, 8 centimeters. 8 centimeters. 8.7 by 9.7 centimeters. M of Margaret of Austria with scenes of the life of Saint Margaret. Kidnapping Margaret. This website is not really providing any high resolution images for us to see the details. This one's smaller, 5.6 centimeters by half a centimeter. It's amazing to see how well they were preserved. .8 centimeters. Triptych interior corpus. Adoration of the Magi, left wing. Nativity with Annunciation to the shepherds in the background, right wing presentation. Flight into Egypt, Massacre of the Innocents. Okay, give us larger images, please. Beautiful, very beautiful. Two semi-spheres hinged together, and there's a door that you can, two doors you can open. Very sophisticated structure. Polyptych. Adoration, crucifixion, journey to the Bethlehem and the nativity, presentation and the offerings of the doves, Adam and Eve and the tree of knowledge. Signature inscriptions and markings carved in Latin inscriptions. Lamentations around altar upper. Outer translation, attend and see if there will be any sorrow like to my sorrow. Psalms and around upper scene in Gothic letters. Published reference. Catalog provenance. J. Pierpont, Morgan, London, New York. State. Johannes Paul. Wonderful. Biblical scenes carrying the cross. Object name sarcophagus. (6.2 centimeters). Memento mori, dives in hell. Carved in Latin inscription, and there's no translation. Mary Magdalene. Weapon accessory. Okay, not much information. Okay, let's navigate to their other collections. The collection, the exhibition. Catalog. Oh, I see. AGO. Exhibitions, collections. Where is the collection again? Artists, collections here. Collections. Modern, European, Canadian art. Okay, which one should we look at? Harry Moore sculptures. Let's look at modern. The AGO's modern collection spans international art from 1900 to 2000. With foundational gifts from Simon Ayala Sachs, the AGO's pioneering women's committee, and the British sculptor Henry Moore, home to the world's largest public collection of Moore's work, most donated by the artist himself. The AGO opened the Henry Moore Sculpture Center in 1974. Most work from the 60 most moment represented, reflecting growth and collection highlights. Heinrich Stadelmann, Autodix paintings. Anonymous gift. That's all? Just one image. Elvis. Lasubi. 3 figures outdoors. Giacometti, Franz Klein. Let's look at Joseph Albers. Joseph Albers. How do we get to a search? I ran into a book called Joseph Albers. Joseph Albers and Mexico. This book about how the Mayan temples, the ancient Published by the Guggenheim Museum. Joseph Albers in Mexico. This book discussed how these Mayan temples, all these squares or these geometric forms, influenced Joseph Albers' research, and he made several trips to Mexico to visit these, to mapping and then surveying these temples, all these forms, and how they influenced his work. Very interesting book to read. The architecture and sculpture of ancient Mexico were vital to Albers' art, not only as a database of motifs for his paintings, but also as a kind of secular church where his faith in abstract art for the modern age was renewed. Joseph Albers' Mexico has an energetic syncopation generated by the painting's singing colors, which alternate with the silvery sepia of the photographs. Necessary correction to Albers' reputation as a more pedagogue than painters, and the misconception that abstraction can ever be free of outside influence. Everything's social. Unless you live in a cave. So in this society, everything's social. Everything's social. You have to understand everything or anything by referencing to something you have already know. So yeah, the abstraction can ever be free of outside influence. And it's not a surprising discovering that everything's social, and you, of course, you always refer to the things, and particularly when you are explaining anything to anyone, you have to refer to the knowledge that the listener has already know. So Lauren Hinkson is Associate Curator of Collections at Solomon R. Guggenheim Museum, New York. Hinkson conducts permanent collection research with a focus on post-war, contemporary, and time-based media art. Hinkson manages the Guggenheim's acquisition program, is one of organizing curators of the Museum's Young Collections Council. Permanent collections, lectures, also the biography of the authors about this book. Top reviews. Albers was the living artist who most influenced artist Jacob Lawrence. Joseph Albers was the artist teacher who had the greatest influence on Jacob Lawrence after Lawrence left New York to begin his own teaching career at Black Mountain College. I learned this fact as a student of Jacob Lawrence when I was a graduate student. Around 1968, in an interview with Carol Green, Jacob Lawrence named Joseph Albers, providing him the greatest influence. I don't know. What a glorious book of book design this book Albert is. Tour de force extraordinaire. Seeing the photography of ancient Mexico provides new insight to those of us not always so fond of Albers. Whether you love Albers or a lot or only just like him a bit, this book will be a great addition to your library. Although everybody's brain, each human's brain on Earth is hardwired the same way or similar way, but of course each person's personality or his brainwave might be a bit different from others. Whether you can just vibrate in sync with any image or creators, you're lucky to just find someone or something that you like or you love or make you excited. Well, I personally enjoyed reading this book, just surprisingly to find out more information, any connection between Albers and Mexico and ancient Mayan architecture and patterns. Okay, let's get back to Albert's collection. Geometric abstraction. And of course, all these lines, all these gaps, the distance between each line or each frame here are based on math. Joseph Albers, the German artist. Albers is a German-born American artist and educator who is considered one of the most influential 20th century art teachers in the United States. Born in 1888 in Bottrop, Westphalia, Germany, into a Roman Catholic family with a background in craftsmanship. Albers received practical training in diverse skills like engraving, glass, plumbing, and wiring during his childhood. He later worked as a school teacher, joined the Weimar Bauhaus as a student, became faculty member in 1992. Teaching the principles of handicrafts with the Bauhaus moved to Dessau in 1925. He was promoted professor and married Annie Fleischmann, a student at institution, the textile artist. The glass, Paul Klee, Black Mountain College in Carolina. Formative years was following entrance of Bauhaus. Enrolled as student, Bauhaus handicrafts, Yale University, and command records works on Marshall Square. Okay, accomplished as a designer, photographer, typographer, printmaker, and poet. Albers is best remembered for his work as an abstract painter and a theorist. He favored a very disciplined approach to composition, especially in the hundreds of paintings and prints that make up the series Homage to the Square. In this rigorous series, begun in 1949, Albers explored chromatic interactions with nested squares, usually painting on masonite. He used a palette knife with oil colors and often recorded the color he used in the back of his work. Each painting consists of either 3 or 4 squares of solid planes of color nested with one another in one of 4 different arrangements and in square formats ranging from exactly 406 by 406 millimeters to 1.22 by 1.22 millimeters. Gottlieb mural, just so rigorously calculated and disciplined color fields, interaction of color system at the end of his course. And theorists, apparently just absolute theorists. There's a fine line between art and science. Albers opens eyes to Mexico. Possible that society has never been more poorly prepared than in the present cultural moment to appreciate an artist like Joseph Albers. The German-American painter's deliberate, introspective, and contemplative art seems in many ways to utterly incompatible with our overriding fascination with the big, the now, the provocative, and the bold, so much so that one wonders if Albers' legacy might be at stake. Albers, of course, doesn't make it easy on the casual art fan. The extreme simplicity of his signature paintings and their ostensible lack of subject can be, admittedly, hard to get past. Many critics have called Albers cold and austere. Many, too, deride him as representative of an academic or worse, dogmatic modernism, a belief likely embodied by the fact that part of Albers, history has pushed him to this height. Theorists and professor and the pioneer at Bauhaus. Everything happens for a reason, right? So there's no way you can ignore or undermine the significance of his art of his time. Those willing to engage with Albert's work will find that a painter was anything but cold. Curated by Guggenheim, essential to understand his entire career setting out. Governor's Palace, Uxmal, oil and graphite and paper. Just amazing. Just amazing. And ancient Mayan temples apparently influenced Frank Lloyd Wright's tiles. These tiles and of course further influenced the logo of a film company, I believe. Just amazing. Study for a variant Adobe. Homage to the square consent. Bringing attention to the ways that pre-Columbian art inspired formal innovation with the painter's career, Joseph Albers in Mexico is a welcome correction to the common idea that modernists embrace the influence of non-Western cultures solely to undermine the social mores of their own civilization. In fact, Albers was explicitly uninterested in the supposedly religiosity or cultural provenance of these forms, as he explains later in that same lecture. It doesn't matter the origin of any art or any culture, as long as they vibrate in your head when you see them or when you read them, when you experience them. That does not matter the location or the origin of any inspiration. And we don't need to overanalyze that. Just enjoy the art, enjoy what you see here. Maybe I shouldn't have said that as a curator. Well, let's get back to AGO's collection. The Thompson collection. Ken Thompson's gift of his art collection, the most significant private art collection in Canada, added 2,000 outstanding works to the Art Gallery of Ontario. The collection features signature works by Canadian artists from the 19th to mid-20th century, with some 300 works from the Group of Seven and Tom Thompson. Oh, that's remarkable. The collection also includes a remarkable 145 paintings by the 19th century artist Cornelius Krieghoff and 100 works by the early 20th century luminary David Milne, as well as key paintings by Paul Kane, Paul-Émile Bourdois, and William Kurelek. So Canadian art. Highlight from the collection: Massacre of the Innocents by Paul Rubens, Two-Decker, Diptych. Okay, let's just browse all. Let's see Tom Thompson first. Just so amazed by his talent. There was a Tom Thompson exhibition called the North Star at the All-Day Museum in Whistler, BC. North Star. Just so many artists in Vancouver told us that, oh, you have to see this exhibition. It's a must. You have to go see Tom Thompson North Star exhibition at the gallery there. So a couple of friends and I went and just totally amazed. I also bought the catalog. The catalog was sold out, so I got it from Amazon. And then later there was like two or three paintings were listed for auction at the Heffel auction house in that year. Just amazing. There are not many images. If you missed this exhibition, you can now go to AGO to see Tom Thompson's works. Just totally remarkable. Totally just oozing talent. Oozing talent. So just okay. I'm glad many of his paintings got well preserved and passed on to the next institution. Is there a way to just go next? Click on one image and then I'll go to the next object? No? Have to go back to the collection grid. Most of these paintings were done plein air, outdoors, in the wild. Or maybe some of these were on loan at the exhibition I saw in Whistler. All these paintings are not that big because he was carrying all these panels with him when he was painting outdoors. Just remarkable. Algonquin Park. Okay. Any other? Let's just randomly search one artist. Can we? Okay. I have to uncheck Tom Thompson to see only this artist here. Last. No, still Tom Thompson? Oh, this is someone else. Photograph. I see. Thompson collection. Collections focus. Historic picture frames. The Art Gallery of Ontario is home to a collection of over 1,000 picture frames dating from the late 1400s to the late 1800s. The frames were given to the museum by an anonymous donor in the 1990s. The collection represents a broad range of makers and techniques, with frames from Italy, Spain, England, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Belgium, and beyond. The frames function as a remarkable study collection for the history of this art form and are also put to use. The AGO has reframed many of our paintings so that the frame and painting come from the same period of origin and time period. We're working on updating the catalog for these frames. Okay, great. So we can come back later and then check out more objects in this collection. This is the first time I have known any collection of picture frames. Let's find out. Major institutions treat picture frames not just as functional art, but as meticulously conserved historical artifacts. Many of the world's top museums house dedicated centuries-spanning collections of empty and tenanted frames, which are regularly researched, restored, and displayed as standalone masterpieces of see. Art Gallery of Ontario, the Metropolitan Museum of Art has 400 the finest Italian-French frames. The Louvre Museum, oh my god, has even more. Victoria Albert Museum, Philadelphia, I see. Summary of frame exhibitions. Robert Collection frames. Robert Lehman Collection. I can download the PDF. Wonderful. Florence. Was so well documented and researched. Wonderful. Okay, so let's continue to look at AGO's collection next time, or we can navigate to more or other institutions in Toronto tomorrow. Okay.